you and I both saw Spider-Man Brand New Day, gave you our out of the theater reaction. And quick reminder to please sub to the channel if you have not already. Give this video a like. Alan, let's now give our thoughts, and we will be non-spoiler. We'll do a separate spoiler review after the movie has opened, and we will go deep into the spoilers. So let's give now our expanded thoughts. Why don't you start?
When I start, yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I mentioned that up front because I want to compare it to the Odyssey for a moment. Shows you the difference, because essentially they're the same type of movie in terms of my feelings about it. Both, Spider-Man's over 2.5 hours. Odyssey is just under 3. There were things that they both suffer from, but there were things that that happened in Spider-Man Brand New Day that pushed it into the recommend way further than the Odyssey was. The first is the opening. The opening sets the tone. This is a Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man does Spider-Man things in this movie. He's on the streets of New York. He's fighting crime. He's defeating the bad guys. You get these amazing action sequences, which only progress better and better as the movie goes on. You just get this sense of that this is Peter Parker, this is Spider-Man. I'm watching the Spider-Man that I read in the comics, and I imagine that this is what it would look like as I was reading the comics. And yes, there is the story of the fact that his true love and his best friend don't know who he is. And quite frankly, I find that a compelling story. Most people don't, but I do. So it starts off with a bang. I'm connected. Odyssey, it started off, I couldn't understand a thing people were saying. The storylines were just kind of cut together too fast. And right off the bat with Odyssey, I was bored out of my mind. It was just really hard to get into it. But here, I was like, yeah, let's do this. It's a Spider-Man movie. And then, as it goes along, I was really fighting between, wow, I really like this. And I'm like, oh, I'm really not sure about this. And now that I had a chance to think about it, Spider-Man Brand New Day is a Gen Z movie. The storyline is very Gen Z. It's the whole, will MJ ever remember who I am? Will we ever fall in love again? That's a very classic love story trope, and it's a love story that's handled because all the characters in it are Gen Z. They're very young, and so I can admit at that point that okay, maybe I'm a little too old for this emotional story, but I get it, and I think it was handled well. So I think that will be a big point of contention for us older viewers compared to younger viewers. The other thing, I really did like this movie, but it is that second half. The second movie that occurs. There is a reveal of a character which I won't mention, even though you guys talked about it on the Nooner. But it was like, if you're gonna bring an iconic character, this iconic character into the Spider-Man universe or the MCU for that matter, you should tell that character's story and not just create a character, call it that person, and then create a whole brand new story. If this person was named something else, like Schmachel Schmummers, I would buy the story that's being told about that. But when it's given the real person and me knowing that real person and me knowing the story and the origins and the life of that real person, and then to put it in a story that has nothing to do with that comic book character, that's where I really had the problem with. And it was all a matter of you should just change the name. Should just change the name and I'd be fine with it. And then the last thing I'll say about it is the third negative thing is pacing. It's fast action, Gen Z drama, fast action, Gen Z drama. And so I think I found it to be a very good movie. I think it's far superior than all the non-Spider-Man Marvel movies that have come out since Endgame. Daniel Daniel Destin Cretton, I think, was a good choice, because I think he didn't write the script. He had to shoot the script, but he understood the action. There are some amazing fight sequences in this. And I think he handled it very well. I think it's a very good looking movie. It's just the pacing is the real negative. And I don't hate it. I don't hate this movie. I will see it again.
Let me get a quick history for me. I grew up reading Spider-Man comics. I was blown away when I saw a live action Spider-Man on the Electric Company as a kid. And I also watched the cartoon. This cartoon, that soundtrack is emblazoned in my head. And Spider-Man movies, there've been a build up to making a Spider-Man movie since I've been alive. And I remember seeing a copy of Variety magazine at a bookstore. They announced the Canon Films James Cameron was going to make Spider-Man. The project never happened, but we did get the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire movies, all three, and I love those, at least the first two.
Yep.
I don't think the third one's dismissible. Not a fan of the Andrew Garfield films. Tom Holland movies, they skew younger, like John Hughes movies where they throw in a Spider-Man character. I happen to love No Way Home. I think No Way Home, and I'll say it right now, is the best of the Tom Holland movies. I would rank Spider-Man Brand New Day as the second best of the Tom Holland movies, and I'll give my reasons in a moment. But let's start with the stuff that is good. The best action we've ever seen Spider-Man on screen is in this movie. Reproductions of classic Spider-Man covers, including Amazing Fantasy 15, they're in the movie. Even the video game, the Spider-Man video game, influenced the action. You've got, if you get, I don't think in the other Spider-Man movies, I really got a sense of vertigo. And he is, we begin the movie with him on top of a construction site hanging upside down. It's fantastic. You're really in the space of what it's like to have these powers and swing around the city and have problems also. Not easy to always get around the city, just using, spun web. So on that level, amazing. And I'll say this, the director, this is Daniel Destin Cretton, the best directed of any Spider-Man movie for two reasons. One, that action that is just so incredible. And to be fair, I love the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi ones for its time. He used every trick in the book, and I still love those. But the effects in those movies are quaint compared to what's being done now. The second thing, the director's credit, he directed the character interplay. You mentioned like very Gen Z. It feels like an independent film. It feels like a very earnest story about relationships and loss and feeling alone in a big city and trying to make connection. And here he's got his, best friend, Ned. Peter Parker is his best friend, Ned, the woman he loves, MJ, and they don't even know who he is. And he has to awkwardly try to make that reconnection.
Let me just interrupt for a second, but that party scene, I don't know if you noticed it, but it was handheld and shot on film.
Yeah, it's so well done, but that's what I'm saying. The director's strengths were the action, and the character stuff is some of the best we've ever seen in a Marvel movie. And I feel I would almost give it the same number rating as you, but I liked it less for these reasons. And the more I think about it, the more it bugs me. The running time of the movie is 2 hours and 25 minutes. It should not be. This movie should have been a tight 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's every side character and side quest that diminishes Peter Parker. And by diminishing, takes away. I want to see a movie where Spider-Man goes out, solves crimes, beats up bad guys, says some snarky little one-liners, insults the villains, but he basically has the sidekick of a female cop that's Latino or I
Afro
don't know what it
Latino.
is.
She's Afro Latino.
Afro Latino cop that is helping him. Then he finally is introduced to the head of major what is it? Damage control.
Department of Damage Control.
Yes. And he's now in league with him. Then he has a meeting with Yelena, head of the new Avengers, who tells him to strip down and take his entire suit off to get in a sauna to have a meeting with her. It's a weird humiliation ritual that if it was opposite and there was a man asking a woman to do that, which you could see happening in a James Bond movie, you'd say, well, that's pretty sexist of James Bond. I call BS. So you've got Yelena, NYPD cop, damage control head. They're all kind of pulling the strings of Spider-Man. Hey, do this work for us. What is he, a freelancer? I miss the days of J. Jonah Jameson chewing out Peter Parker, yelling at him and being funny, which apparently J. Jonah Jameson is in the movie. Blink and you'll miss him. He is credited. He's got a credit on the film.
Is it J.K. Simmons?
J.K. Simmons, he does. Okay. I didn't notice him.
I didn't notice him either.
Well, there you are. In any case, might have been cut out. In any case, the thing that tears this movie down is the HR department saying you gotta have these characters helping Spider-Man. It's the same thing that weighed down Superman. If this movie, there is a really great 2-hour movie in the middle of this movie, but you have 25 minutes of unnecessary and a third act involving the mystery character that everybody knows, Shmeen Gray. and that we'll get into on Friday. Look,
well, the fact that you go into her origin story right in the middle of this movie.
Yeah, they give her origin story. It's a third act. Like the movie kind of has a logical end about an hour 50 in the movie. Then the movie keeps going.
The twist.
The twist. So while I would give this the same number rating, I liked it less. I'm mixed because there's so much I love about it and everything I despise about this movie. I kind of have to sit there and go like, fold my arms, look at the screen and go, ugh, good place to go to the bathroom. And they really push the importance of this NYPD detective that's basically, oh, Peter, don't worry, leave that to us. Don't do this, don't do that, leading him along. And she has her kids say hi to Spider-Man. It's like someone from HR said, could you put someone like me exactly in the movie? It is lame. I'm calling it out. It sucks. There's a lot of other characters like that. Bring back J. Jonah Jameson's browbeating and abuse. We need some of these assholes in the movie. Even his rapport with Scorpion, it's too like Scorpion should be trying to kill him. There's too much familiarity. I will say John Bernthal is Punisher. He's kind of a PG-13 version of Punisher.
He says the S word a lot.
Yeah, he swears. The swearing is kind of unnecessary in the movie. I just don't, you don't need it. You don't need it. It doesn't, this isn't David Mamet. Okay. but like that rapport and relationship is much better. But what this movie really lacks, it just lacks that focus. I really would like to see some ambitious editor do a fan cut of this movie that is 2 hours ish, cutting out all the unnecessary side quests. It drags the movie down. In spite of that, I would agree with your number rating, which is surprising, but I liked it a lot less than you. Having said that, I liked it better than The Odyssey, and I recommend it. Yeah. Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, let me address your DEI.
Please do.
Cop. I had zero problem with it. If it were a white person, that character would be the fat Irish cop who's like, "Oh, Spider-Man, you're here to save the day." You know, that's the impact this character has on Spider-Man. She's not a mentor in any way. She is just in a way the liaison between Spider-Man and the cops. Her one singular goal in this movie, or the reason she exists in this movie, is to remind Peter Parker that he can't do this alone, which is a big part of this movie. Is Peter living this nomad life, this loner life, and she's saying, look, she's divorced. Why? Because her job became more important than her marriage, and she fears the same thing happening with Spider-Man, is that he's focusing too much on that. But that's to the point, and to your point, this movie, it's not the characters that is the problem, it's bloated storyline wise, plot wise. There are too many plot points in this that you have to manage. For example, the whole Hulk thing and everything surrounding the Hulk and the inhibitor devices. Then there's we talked about the cop here, who's the reminder that you can't do this alone. Then there's the MJ stuff. Then there's the whole interaction between him and Frank. There's there's now with the mystery character, this whole interaction. And then at the end, there's a whole scene about the relationship between Spider-Man and all of New York City, which is another plot point that we got to work our way through. And so it's like we bring up this movie constantly brings up new plot points and then needs to resolve it. And so it's a new plot point, resolve, new plot. I think like like Supergirl, the script is really the weakest part here, because it tries to do too much when it really should have gone through a serious edit process. That mystery character, I mean, to me, it literally felt like a second movie.
It did.
This could have been part 2 of Brand New Day.
And also, we'll get into detail about the problems that character causes for the Marvel universe.
Yeah. I mean, it ruins a major franchise that they're thinking about maybe rebooting down the line.
Look, I don't mind. Like, I love side characters. It's screen time, and what's the purpose?
Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose? And they gotta add something where you go like, wow, I could have had J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson in the movie more. He's entertaining, but he's got just enough screen time to add to it. That character, the NYPD detective, you're not going to buy an action figure of that character. Totally unmemorable.
Yeah, but
the fact that she has kids.
No, that was the point. The point was she's the reminder that Spider-Man cannot do this alone. He needs other people. That was her plot point. I think that was the more well-developed one.
5 times,
more than other people did. More than other things. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that character.
I'm fine if that character had less screen time and wasn't a constant in the movie. And there's too much of it. The movie's bloated. The director, he did his job, and it's phenomenal.
He shot the script.
Yes, and the script is flawed. That's where it is. So, in spite of all of that and the many other problems we have, which if we went into all the problems we had, we'd have to get into.
Yeah, we'd probably start really hating this movie. But the reality is, I would see this movie over again. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the action scenes. Things bothered me less than they bothered you. But yeah, if I were to, and this is what's going to happen today. It'll happen on Friday afternoon. But we're just going to take the things that don't work. We're going to talk it to death. And then sadly, maybe we'll even declare this a bad movie. But I had fun. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again.
Look, I am going to see this again. I do want to see it again. And probably the things that bothered me will bother me less, but they shouldn't be there to begin with. This is a problem with a lot of movies now. We have to put everyone gets a say, and the HR department, you got to have this, you got to have that, you got to have this. You don't. You need a Hollywood a-hole to say, we don't need that, cut it. You got to kill your babies. And some of those are your side characters that get too much screen time. Cut it down to 2 hours. This is a much better movie. In spite of that, did I enjoy it better than The Odyssey? I did. Did I not enjoy Peter Parker being humiliated by Yelena? That's a problem for me.
I thought it was funny.
And it makes it less for me. So a recommend, but with problems.
Let me just say about the Yelena thing. I hope movies start moving back in that direction of we just screw around with people. And let a man do it next.